I mean, literally, I would sit down and tell the Lord, I'm tired. God, I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of being this way. I'm tired of the same battle over and over again. I'm tired of feeling the same way, feeling like I'm getting nowhere. This is what you're doing, fine. Take me through it. Because the only alternative is to quit. And going back out in the world, there's not a whole lot there for me. I mean, I've seen that. Seen that, been there, done that. Didn't like it when I was there the first time. Why would I want to go back? You know, never got involved in it for a whole lot the first time because it wasn't all that for me.
You've tasted something better.
Yeah, and I tasted better.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the Lord is good. And what got me here? Pleasant places. We don't always like it, but there's times He'll wear you out. And you just give in. It's better. The hard part about going through the things of God at times is just our fight. Fighting to maintain ourselves. Fighting to maintain our lives. Fighting to maintain what we believe, what we think, what we want. Spiritually, maintain our doctrine. I don't want to maintain my doctrine. My doctrine's wrong. I want to walk with God. I want to find out what Jesus really said, what He really means. Through all of this, my doctrine has changed. And I figured out I was wrong. For a long time, there's some things I was wrong. So change them. It's really easy. I just changed. You know, I found out there was a lot of pride in my life. Didn't know it was there. Guess what? You know, I love it when I say this. The Lord told me this is in my life, and there's times in our marriage, Rosie would say, "You didn't know? Thank you." If I'd have known, I'd have done something about it. No, I didn't know. This, you know, I didn't know I was being arrogant. But the Lord nicely, not so nicely, told me a few times, "Jerry, you're arrogant." Okay, what do I do now? God, forgive me. Take this out of me. Let's go on. And thinking the other day, I was praying, and I didn't even tell you, the Lord told me, if I do this, are you going to go preach it? Something about moving in your life, in this situation. He said, are you going to go preach it with what you did? And I know what He was asking me. Are you going to take the glory for it? And I stopped and thought. I didn't answer. I said, Lord, the glory's not mine. It's not mine to take. No, I'll never preach it. I'll never tell the story. You don't want me to, I'll never tell the story. And to this point, I don't know that I'll, outside of right here, just letting you guys know what's going on some, that I'll ever preach, you know, the sickness that you've gone through. And I don't know how, you know, the end of it, we're not there yet, but I don't know that I'll ever preach it. Because I don't know that I can preach it right. God's getting the glory for this, not me. And does it make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. She said that real affirmative line.
I read the other day, we go through things and we think it's so that we can teach, but not necessarily.
No.
Sometimes it's just a change.
Just to change us. And so, but the Lord was calling again to my attention that when you go out and preach from this point on, are you going to take the glory for it? Are you going to go back to look at how wonderful I am, you know, how great I am, instead of how, you know, say it Southern, how great I art. Instead of how great thou art, how great I art. And He was asking me, this was the other day, let me tell you. And so I said, Lord, I'll never preach it. You don't want me to preach it? I'll never say a thing. But He was asking me, are you going to take the glory? Are you going to get this? See, the flesh wants to stand up and say, look at this. Oh, God, look at what you've made of me. See, what is your portion? Are you living the inheritance? Are you taking the inheritance and showing how wonderful you are? Let me go on. I'm getting caught up. The lines are falling to me in pleasant places. I have a goodly heritage. I will bless the Lord who hath given me counsel. My reins also instruct me in the night seasons. I will bless the Lord. I'll bless the Lord, where am I? Who hath given me counsel. He tells us what to do. Verse 7. He tells us what to do. I'm just going to kind of zip through this one. We'll get to the next verses. And my reins also instruct me in the night seasons. My reins being my inward thoughts and affections. There's times that the Lord can't speak to us during the day because we won't shut up long enough. We won't get quiet long enough. We want to tell Him how to do it. You ever tell Him how to do it, Lisa? Does he listen? Or you don't listen long enough to see if he's going to answer you? You just keep telling and 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 keep telling. And when you take a breath to tell, he says, shut up, I want to talk to you. And you just keep telling. You take a breath, shut up, I want to talk to you. Then he just sits back and waits till you go to sleep. Then he talks to you. There's times I've gone to sleep and woke up and say, here's the answer. Here's what I do. He's had to speak to me, my inward thoughts and affections in the night season, in the nighttime. That's not always the best way, but hey, whatever works, works. Verse 8. This is where I want to get. I have set the Lord always before me. Because he's at my right hand, I shall not be moved. I have set the Lord always before me. If the Lord's always before you, what else can get before you? Nothing. If God's always before you, there's only one thing going to be in front of you. See, in this situation, there's only one thing you're going to look at. And I've always said this verse this way. I've set the Lord before me. Jesus is in front of me. He's right here. My situation is out there. The Lord is in front of me. What are you looking at? I have to look through Jesus to see my situation. I've set the Lord always before me. If we keep him here, we always have to look through Jesus to get to our situation. If you put your hand up in front of your face, it makes it a whole lot more difficult for you to see me. If you do that to everybody in here, and if everybody would put their hand up, you're going to draw your attention to your hand. You've got to look through your hand, which is getting in the way, which is blocking your view. Wouldn't you like the Lord to block your view from your bad situation? And let you know, here, I'm right here. I'm going to take care of you. I'm right here. Look at me. And he starts moving, going, I'm right here. I've set the Lord always before me. That's not most of the time. How big is your situation? Is it pretty big? How big is the Lord? I would say he's bigger. If God is always before you, the situation will never, never look that big. It will never look unconquerable. Because he says, I've set the Lord always before me. Because he's at my right hand, I shall not be moved. I will not, because he's at my right hand. The right hand is the hand of power. That always symbolizes power. Because he's given me the power in my life. He's set before me and given me the power of God in my life. I can't be moved out of the will of God. There's no possible way for me to be moved. I shall not be moved. That does not say I may not be moved, or hopefully I won't be moved. I will not. I shall not. That's one of those things that it's a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Absolute.
It's an absolute. It's a definite thing. I shall not be moved. But we have to set the Lord before us. That means our inheritance, our portion, we have to set in front of us. This is what I've got to live. Not all the other stuff. We want to set all the other stuff in life before us. Well, I want these things out of life. Well, I want some things out of life too, but I want the Lord to give them to me. I know enough people that have been in business, that have made a lot of money, and they all sacrifice something. Some people set money as their main motivator in life. And you pay a price for that. They sacrifice their marriages, their families. I have a friend, a good friend I grew up with. I talk to him every once in a while. Works for a big, big national company. He's a vice president. And, you know, I just don't want to say the company because I don't want to give who the friend is. But some of you use their telephones. Okay, it's a big company. And he told me, he said, you know, Jerry, I'm a vice president over this area, and they want to promote me. You know, there's something between vice presidents and presidents. You know, they promote him up to other areas, or maybe he's something they want to promote him to a vice president. That's what it is, to a vice president. He said, I won't do it. I've turned him down 4 or 5 times. Why'd you turn him down? He said, because every vice president and everybody that's been a vice president, they're all divorced. Because they have to give their lives over to the company at the expense of their marriage. He said, I'm not willing to give my life over to the company. I love my wife. I love my family. I'm not willing to let me and my position take over my family.